Hello, especially to the researchers. Welcome again to our lecture video. Today, we will be talking about the fifth component of your research methodology or the research instrument. So in crafting our research instrument, there are three qualities that we need to consider. First, the validity, second, the usability, and third is the reliability. So this will be the main gist of this lecture video, and I hope you will really spend time on this because the research instrument, from the word itself, instrument, is your main tool for you to gather the data, uh, for you to gather the needed data for your research. So if you are using an inappropriate instrument, then there is a tendency that you will not be able to gather the best data that you needed. And of course, you will not be able to get the best results for your research. So please spend some time on this. So the research made instruments such as tests, questionnaires, rating scales, interviews, observation schedules, or etc., should meet the qualities of a good research instrument. So before they are used, so those are the qualities I said a while ago. So and also, I would like to clarify because there is a proposal sent to me, and then it is indicated in the research instrument section that their research instrument is the Zoom, the Google Form. No, they are the instrument for your instrument. So for research instrument, this is referring to the interview questions or the set of questions that you will be giving to your respondents for you to gather the needed data for your research. So for example, if you are conducting an interview via Zoom, then present or attach your interview questions in the appendices, but in the research methodology section of your thesis, then please present there your instrument or just describe your instrument, define your instrument, and then justify on how you achieve the validity, the reliability and the usability of your instrument, or how or what are the processes you have undergone to check the validity, usability, and reliability. So example, if you have undergone pilot testing, then present there pilot testing. Or if you have undergone expert testing, then present also there that you have undergone expert testing in order to check the validity of the research instrument used in this research. So that way. So let's single out all the qualities expected for a research instrument. So first we have the validity, second the usability, and third is the reliability. So what is validity? Validity is the degree to which a test or measuring instrument measures what is intended to be measured. So if the instrument is on the right disposition or in the right position to measure what is ought to be measured, or you can gain the data needed for for your research through that questions or through that set of questions, then that is considering the validity of the research instrument. So there are actually three kinds of research instruments. First, the adopted instrument. Second is the adapted instrument. Third is the self-made instrument. So when you say adopted instrument, meaning you just use the valid instrument or the standard questionnaire, standard instrument being used by other researchers who already published their research. So of course, the research is being published, so it has undergone peer reviews. So there is a higher probability that the instrument they are or they used are are or is valid. So for adapted instrument also, it means that you just modify something in the standardized questionnaire you adopted. So from the adoption, you try to adapt it. You adopted it, then modify something, that's adapted instrument. So from the adapted instrument, of course, perfect correlation if you did not change something. So your instrument is perfectly correlated to the instrument being used in this certain research. So especially if it is a published research, so that is really having a higher probability of validity. So perfectly correlated since there are no changes made. But in adapted, that is still highly correlated. So when you talk about concurrent validity, so they are still correlated since there are only minimal changes. So if you do a lot of changes, that can be considered as self-made instrument. So the 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 review in terms of validity, usability, and reliability must really be undergone, or must really undergo thorough checking, especially if it's self-made instrument. So how to assess the validity of your research instrument, or how to guarantee validity in your research instrument, is that you may consult your advisor or other experts of that field. So you may attach the certification in the appendices that this instrument is being validated by Dr. So and so. So maybe you can consult at least three experts of your field in order for you to have a certification that your self-made research instrument is valid in terms of content and concurrence. So for the second quality of a research instrument, we have usability, meaning it is practical, it is usable. The degree to which the research instrument can be satisfactorily used by the teachers, the researchers, supervisors, and school managers without undue expenditure of time and money and effort. So it can be used easily. So in short, practicability of your research instrument. For the factors, there are factors that will determine the usability of your research instrument. First is the ease of administration. Second, the ease of scoring. Third, the ease of interpretation. Fourth, the low cost. And fifth, the proper mechanical makeup. So if it is easy to administer, all the instructions intended for the respondents is clearly or are clearly stated, then there is an ease of administration. So there is also an ease of scoring, especially if you will be using Google Forms, since there is an automatic scoring to that. And ease of interpretation, you must have prepared a verbal description or qualitative description for any figures in your research instrument. So for example, if your respondents would answer 4 in the Likert scale from 1 to 5, then there is a verbal description equivalent to it, because figures in research are useless without verbal description. Next is low cost. It means it would not you will not spend you will not spend a lot of money for that. So for Google Forms, of course, that is very practical because you will not be printing anything. You will just be sending links to your respondents. For proper mechanical makeup, it refers to the appearance, so the complete appearance of your research instrument. So for it to be more enticing to your respondents, then observe a clear font style, and you may also add some aesthetics to your research instrument for it to be more enticing to your respondents. Okay, for the second quality of your research instrument, it's the reliability. It means the extent to which a test is dependable or self-consistent and stable, meaning no matter how many times you try to retest your respondents or how many groups of respondents you are trying to test, the result will still be similar or the same. So there is no greater variance, no far variance. So there might be a difference with the result, but it's only a noticeable or minimal. So how to test the reliability of your instrument? So this is quite interesting because we will be doing math in this. So I'll be teaching you with the types or the methods that you may use in measuring the reliability of your research instrument. So there are 5 methods. First, the test-retest method. Second is the parallel forms method. Third is the split half method. And the fourth is the internal consistency method. So there are 4 actually, not 5. So you will use the Spearman rank formula for the test-retest method and the parallel forms method. And for the split half method, if you want to test the reliability of the whole test, since it's only half, you may use the Spearman rank for half test reliability, but if you want for the whole test reliability, use the Spearman-Brown formula. And then for internal consistency method, you will use the Coder-Richard formula 20. So what's the difference among these methods? So for test-retest method is just simple. You have one group of respondents and you have also one set of questionnaires. So you will administer your test to your respondents, and then after a while or after a week, you will also administer the same test to the same respondents. And then you will compare the first score and then the second score. That's test-retest method. So of course, the interval or the time interval between the first test and the second test is of course an intervening factor to the scores, because if it's too soon after the first quiz, then the tendency is that the scores would really be similar to the first score, since there is still high retention to the questions. But if the test or the second test is administered after a year, then there is a tendency that they already forgot their previous answer. So there may be a great variance when you compare their scores. So for parallel forms method, it means that you have 2 groups of respondents and you also have 2 equivalent sets of questionnaires. When you say equivalent, the level of difficulty, the content of the questionnaire is just the same. It's just that the questions are not identical. So there could be paraphrasing or uh, the restating of the questions, but the content is still the same. So that's parallel forms method. So the conduct or the administering of the test is parallel, simultaneous. So once you give this set to this group of respondents, you also give the other. So that's parallel forms method. And the split half method is that you will only have one set of questionnaire and also one set of respondents. And then you will compare their scores in the odd numbers 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9, assuming that we have 10-item test. And compare it to their scores to the number 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. So that's split half method. For the internal consistency method, this is more applicable in psychological test or neuro test, where the scoring is dichotomous, or there are only two scores, one for pass and zero for failed. Example, in neuro test, based on my experience, you will be asked what day is today, and for example, today is Monday and you answered Sunday, so you failed to answer. You failed to give the right answer, so your score for that question is zero. So that's dichotomous scoring. So this is mostly applicable to psychological test or neuro test. So for now, since the Spearman rank formula is mostly used, the test retest method is mostly used in determining the reliability of the research instrument. So let's try to explore this formula. So for example, this one. So we have here the formula. I'm now becoming a statistician. So that's why during your research proposal, you really need a research statistician for your figures to be checked. So we have here the formula. The Spearman rank correlation coefficient is equal to 1 minus 6 multiplied to the sum of the squared of differences between ranks. So n here is the number of cases or the number of respondents. So this is again the Spearman rank formula used for the test retest method. So example here, I tested 5 respondents. I tested my research instrument to 5 respondents. I have Anna, Honey, Blizzle, Ella, and Rogie. So actually in your tabulation, you may just put numbers or letters to your respondents, but here, for it to be clear for discussion purposes, I indicated the names. So for example, the first score of Anna in the first administration of the test, so 8. Honey's score is 5. Blizzle's is 6. Then Ella's is 7. Then Rogie's is 4. So the rank 1 is Anna. 8 is the rank 1. Then this one. So rank 1. Then rank 2 is Ella. Then rank 3 is Blizzell. Rank 4 is Honey. And rank 5 is Rogie. So after 2 weeks, I again conducted the same test. So the rank 1 is Anna. Her score increased by 1, but still she is the rank 1. Then rank 2 is Blizzell, then rank 3 is Ella, and rank 4 is Honey, and rank 5 is Rogie. So we have to find the difference between the scores. 1 minus 1 equals 0, 4 minus 4 equals 0, 3 minus 2 equals 1, 2 minus 3 equals -1, 5 minus 5 equals 0. So we have to square the difference of their scores. So 0 squared is of course 0, 0 squared 0, 1 squared 1, -1 squared equals 1, 0 squared equals 0. So if we total or we get the sum of the difference, that is 2, and the number of cases or the number of respondents is 5. So let's try to use this formula. So our coefficient is 1 minus 6 times 2 y2. So the sum of the difference or the sum of the square of difference is 2. So 6 times 2 over 5. 5 cubed, 5 times 5 equals 25 times 5 equals 125. That's why 125 minus 5. So 5n. So equals 1 minus 12 over 120. So then 1 minus, because 12 over 120 is 0.1. So 1 minus 0.1 is 0.9. So this is our coefficient. So how to interpret it, if it is highly correlated or not correlated. So this one, interpretation of correlation coefficient. So an R from 0.0 to positive or negative 0.2 denotes negligible correlation, meaning your research instrument is not reliable. Create another research instrument. An R from positive or negative 0.21 to positive or negative 0.40 denotes slight correlation. So I don't trust a slight correlation. Again, craft your research instrument. An R from positive or negative 0.41 to positive or negative 0.70 denotes marked or moderate correlation. So this is better. An R from positive or negative 0.71 to positive or negative 0.90 denotes high correlation. Therefore, we are having high correlation. So the instrument I used is reliable. So an R from 0.91 to 0.99 denotes very high correlation. And then, of course, if there's no difference, that's perfect correlation. This will happen, of course, if you did not modify something from the standard instrument. If you just use the standard instrument used by other researchers without modifying anything, of course, you will be expecting perfect correlation. So again, if you want to have a researcher-made instrument, please check the validity by consulting the experts. Also consider usability, and then the reliability by using the Spearman rank or whatever is convenient for you. So thank you for listening to this lecture video, and if you have not watched my other lecture videos regarding research methodology, just check it on my channel if I can put the description below, and then click the like button if you like this lecture video. And if you have not subscribed yet to this channel, please subscribe for more videos. Thank you and keep learning.